Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is a historic faith with a progressive theology, grounded in love, which calls us to see the holy in each being and to take compassionate action in our world. In this space, we gather with open minds, open hearts, and open hands to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and growth, welcoming all people of all nations, all creeds, all ages, all genders, all cultures, all kinds of love. Whether you're here every week, came today for the first time, or stop by once in a while, we celebrate all of who you are and all you are becoming. You are welcome here.
Good morning. I'm Patrick Cooleybeck, this morning's worship coordinator. Reverend Parisa is at her son Darius's coming of age service this morning, and she sends her love from Fallen Church in Lexington. Our student minister, Kel Alford, and I are joined by musicians Andrew Stack and Hyunju Jung in leading worship today. And I understand Hyunju has some guests in the house. Your mother is here? We love having your daughter here, thank you. We couldn't do this without Reverend Beth supporting our Zoom congregation, as well as our tech team, greeters, ushers, worship team, and coffee hour hosts. Thank you all, friends. If you're new to Arlington Street, welcome. We're so glad you're here and would love to stay connected. I hope you'll visit our website at ascboston.org and sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. If you're in the sanctuary, please fill out the pew card in front of you and put it in the basket during the offering to let us know how to be in touch with you. On the last pages of the order of service, you'll find information on upcoming Arlington Street events. There's always a lot going on, both in person and on Zoom, and we'd love to see you this week. A special thank you this morning to the many, many volunteers, auction donors, and partygoers who made last night's gala a night to remember, led by the intrepid, compassionate, well-organized Fran Peterson. Fran, can you come up? Fran led a gala team including Queen Cheryl, Reverend Ali Jablonski, Rebecca Reed, Danny Fournier, Liz Texero, Dawn Balemo, Kel Alford, and Reverend Parisa. They all had a lot of fun doing a lot of work. We're so grateful for being part of a community that has had so much magic to celebrate. Fran?
Good morning. It's so nice to see everyone. I just saw you last night. I hope everybody had a rest. So I'm going to give you a total. This isn't our total, but as of this morning, we have raised $42,000. So I'd just like to thank you and let you know that we continue to have the online auction is open. If you haven't had a chance to donate, please feel free to do that. And if you'd like to make a donation that's not the online auction, then you can speak with Liz. And also, we have this handy dandy little sign. If you have pictures and you want to upload them, this will be at the coffee hour. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Everybody have a good day.
Thank you, Fran. If you came this morning with a joy or concern in your heart, you are invited to light a candle at home and share in the chat, or come up and light a silent candle at the table to the right of the Gleason podium. I hope all of you in the in-person congregation will plan to join us in the Honeywell Chapel, right through the leather door up front after the service. Those of you on Zoom are invited to stay on for remote fellowship as well. And now Keith is going to turn the camera on our in-person congregation as we wave and smile at each other, as well as at our friends in the Zoom room. And you all in the Zoom room could wave and smile back. Hello, friends. Let's all engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another, heart to heart. Whether you've been coming here for years or today is your first time at Arlington Street, welcome home.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and friends. Good morning. As you may have noticed, Mark David Buckles, our director of music, and our choir are not here right now, which means Hyungju and I are leading the ship this morning, which for those of you with a good memory will recall, that means it's time to play my favorite game. Andrew brings a bunch of classical music into Arlington when Mark David can't say no. So this morning's sermon is a full catastrophe love, and for me as a German leader scholar, that means there's only one direction you could possibly go. Classical music's most famous or infamous, depending on how you want to look at it, love triangle between Robert Schumann, his wife Clara Schumann, and her intrepid admirer Johannes Brahms. So, let's dive in. So our first piece this morning is Liebst du Schönheit, which, if you have a really good memory, you might remember we did a long, long time ago. I think it might have been last summer. We did Gustav Mahler's arrangement of it. This morning we're doing Clara Schumann. A little bit about Clara Schumann. Her maiden name, which some people prefer to call her by, was Clara Wieck. In addition to being the wife of Robert Schumann, who was the crazy famous composer, famous for being a composer and for being crazy, she was also an exceptionally accomplished pianist in her own right. Some of our pianist friends will know and hate her because she made it common performance practice for pianists to perform their concertos fully memorized. And all pianists have been cursing her name ever since. She's also an exquisitely talented composer herself, so this is Liebst du Schönheit.
Thank you, Andrew. Beautiful. Today I'm going to read a poem before I light the chalice, a poem by our beloved Mary Oliver called In Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go.
Sorry, I had that poem read at my last degree recital many moons ago, so I'm always a big sobby mess whenever I hear it. I was not emotionally prepared for that. Our first hymn this morning is number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. I invite you to rise in body and in spirit as you're able and willing, and join us. The words are in the order of service and in the chat.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place. Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
It is now time for our treasured ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. In addition to sharing our sorrows and joys this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious our beloved community is. We need one another. Whether together or apart, may we stay very close. Let's join now in singing Sanctuary. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Some of us come today with heavy hearts. We open our hearts to you.
A candle of sorrow from Cody and Gyro Storms. Prayers for Aunt Barb, Tia Sarita, and their neighbors in Palm Springs after the bombing of fertility clinic Saturday afternoon. Although it is still being investigated, it is believed to have been an intentional act of violence and hate, with one person dead and others injured. Thankfully, the IVF labs and embryos were undamaged, and the clinic will be able to help more people again in the future. Our final candle of sorrow is from Jairo Gomez. I have seen children abandoned as ICE continues illegally abducting our neighbors, and I have been so grief-stricken. I fear these raids will continue and the scope will widen. For now, I will continue to donate funds, offer assistance for communication systems, and use my hands for service. May we all find the strength to defend our neighbors.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Some of us come today in joy. We share your joy.
A candle of gratitude from Allison Reed for Reverend Ali Jablonski, who provided over the celebration of life for my father, Roger Stoddard, last weekend. We are incredibly grateful for her kindness and care, as well as her warm welcoming of our guests at the Harvard Memorial Church. Reverend Ali gave me the courage to stand beside her and speak during the service. Additionally, we are thankful to Beck Zare for singing with a voice like an angel at the service. Their voice was so lovely that tears were streaming down my face. Arlington Street stood strong at the church. Thank you. A candle of joy from Cheryl Sullivan. My gorgeous son Sam will graduate from the University of Pennsylvania's School of Engineering and Applied Sciences tomorrow with a degree in mechanical engineering, a concentration in fluid dynamics, a minor in math, and a minor in computer science. His senior design project, called Helium Solutions, won the Judges Award. I am so proud he has worked so hard. Before we get to graduation, though, he has a second to last competition as a member of Penn's heavyweight rowing team today. Last year, he led Penn to a 5th place finish in this regatta, the Eastern Sprints. It was Penn's best result in over 20 years. This year, Sam would like to do even better. I'll be there cheering him on, of course, but as his mother, it can be very hard to watch himself put him through what he puts himself in these races. Please hold both of us in your thoughts. Our final candle of joy is from our musical director, Mark David Buckles. Our amazing pianist, Hyunju Jung, is graduating from Boston University this week with her doctorate in piano performance. Say a prayer that her new visas get approved and she can stay here indefinitely. Well, that's all in progress. This will be her last Sunday with us for a few months. Hyunju, we are so grateful and thankful for you. Congratulations, Dr. Jung.
Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Open my heart to be a sanctuary, all made holy, loved and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
For all the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, for all nations, and for all beings. Amen.
Please join now in saying the affirmation and covenant of our beloved spiritual community. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another. Our next hymn this morning is number 134, Our World is One World. We'll be led again by Andrew Stack, and the words to sing along can be found in the order of service, in the chat, and in the gray hymnals. Let's rise now in body, rise in spirit, and sing together hymn 134, Our World is One World.
Our world is a one world. What touches one affects us all. The seas that wash us round about, the clouds that cover us, the rains that fall. Our world is one world. The thoughts we think affect us all. The way we build our attitudes with love or hate we make a bridge or wall. Our world is one world. Its ways of wealth affect us all. The
Hello again. Before our reading, I just want to acknowledge the, what Sister Stella called the blingiest, draggiest pulpit ever. And it's an honor and privilege to be up here in it today, left over from our gala last night, which was such a joy and so magical in every way. Thank you, Fran. Our reading today is a poem from Rainer Maria Rilke called Go to the Limits of Your Longing. This version is translated by Joanna Macy. Listen, God speaks to each of us as he makes us, then walks with us silently out of the night. These are the words we dimly hear. You, sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your longing. Embody me, flare up like flame, and make big shadows I can move in. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going, no feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby is the country they call life. You'll know it by its seriousness. Give me your hand. I am obsessed with metaphors. Obsessed, really, a bit fanatical, if I'm going to be honest. Like many of you, I suspect, and I wonder sometimes if it's a particularly common affliction of Unitarian Universalists. I look for metaphors everywhere, like a huntress searching for spiritual food to feed herself and her flock, as a way to make sense of the world, to make sense of abstract or complicated ideas, or complex emotions, experiences, or concepts, making them easier to grasp and to cope with. Metaphors are a way to build bridges between what I think I know and what I don't yet know. See, there, I just used one. I'm imagining the distance between what I think I know and what I don't yet know as a bridge. Okay. This really helps me to make that particular existential crevasse feel a bit less frightening. I put a bridge over it. Especially now, as a student and a beginner attending divinity school in my third, walking into the wilderness of a new vocation, metaphors are very helpful. Divinity school can be a bit of a minefield of emotional and moral and spiritual awakening and confusion. Right there, two more metaphors. The wilderness and a minefield. Metaphors, they're everywhere. But my goodness, these two metaphors are a bit frightening even for me. While we might think of metaphors simply as poetic tools of language that we use to relay stories of our experience and to teach and to warn and to soothe, American cognitive linguist and philosopher George Lakoff reminds us in his seminal book, Metaphors We Live By, that metaphors aren't just pretty poetic words, though they certainly can be that. Metaphors are the very lens through which we perceive reality. And then, most essentially, they become the way we act out reality. Just as Annie Dillard tells us how we spend our days is how we spend our lives, George Lakoff tells us how we use metaphors is how we are wiring the magnificent and mysterious operating systems that are our brains. And will be naturally, as a result, how we show up in the world. According to Lakoff, our metaphors are so subtly woven into the way we think, we often don't even recognize them. They aren't just how we talk, they're how we behave. They're how we make meaning and direct our lives. Take, for instance, the metaphors I used a moment ago that I'm walking in a wilderness toward my new vocation. The wilderness part makes sense for me. It's a common spiritual metaphor, and being from Colorado originally, and being a hiker, I love the wilderness and found great solace and wisdom there. But yikes, a wilderness that, God forbid, is a minefield? I'm not sure where the image of a minefield came from exactly, but it does reflect somewhat the anxiety and vigilance I struggle with as I try to complete another semester chock full of deeply meaningful and difficult learning, with dangerous deadlines and heavy word counts and the treachery of one too many Chicago footnotes. What if I instead had described a wilderness of my wandering through divinity school as a wildflower meadow teeming with emotional and moral and spiritual energy instead? Note to self. Yes, we must use metaphors to help us describe and interpret the world, and we might have assumed them to be value neutral. But the deeper truth being revealed in this emerging field that George Lakoff's a part of is called embodied cognition, is that as we use metaphors, they work on us. They use us. We become their unwitting foot soldiers. Our faithful UU tradition centers love, another primal and poetic metaphor which reflects the core essentiality of love for our UU tradition. Love balanced at the center of a circle of values radiating out, centered in love, love at the center. Mohawk Indigenous midwife Guji Koch, in her beautiful book, Worlds Within Us, Wisdom and Resilience of Indigenous Women Elders, reminds us that we're dwelling in a universe made of circles, each balanced by the four directions. Centered in love, love at the center. And this love at the center of our tradition sprouts from our universalist roots, our second U. The universalism at the heart of our UU tradition, like our first U, Unitarianism, has deep Christian roots. And tracing her history, we can see the love at the heart of universalism. Universalist theology has always been a fierce, unrelenting love at the edges of orthodoxy. Radical, heretical, wildly brave. We can see the first taproots of universalism springing from the emergent and radical transformative impulses of the early Jesus movement. The theology of universalism was a notion that proposed God's love was so powerful, so inexorable, that nothing could stop it. No sin, no separation, no evil, nothing. The conviction was that this love was so free and so relentless and so inevitable that in the end, all of God's children and every human soul would one day in some way return to God. That is, we would all be saved. Everyone in heaven, universal salvation. Since her earliest beginnings, universalism has been making good trouble. And as a result, she has fallen in and mostly out of favor over and over and over again with the Christian church fathers, forcing her to go into hiding, to go underground, to return to the soft, dark soil of near death, waiting, surviving, evolving, and then popping up again and again at various places and times in history, only to be exiled over and over again by the overlords of orthodoxy. When the theology and practice of universalism planted herself on the shores of America, she found a nurturing intellectual tolerance and religious freedom here. And so here she is, she's among us. She has survived. In the gorgeous words of UU prophet Mary Oliver, universalism has found salvation on the other side of the fires and the black river of loss. An evolved legacy that lives on in our tradition with the beating heart of the wildly generous, unconditional love of the original universalism. This is the fierce, inclusive UU love, the love at the center of our faith and the love centering our faith. Sturdy metaphors indeed. Metaphors that inform and infuse our promise to one another as you use. A promise of love that is simple but not easy. I like to think of universalism as a faithful pilgrim. This fierce universalist love navigating the full catastrophe of the spiritual wilderness of the last two very storied millennia. Emerging and seeding the radical teachings of Rabbi Jesus, traveling through the early Jesus movement and through the tortures of Christian empire, being abandoned at every single Christian church council, hiding in monasteries and on papyri stored in vessels stashed away in caves, fleeing persecution, crossing oceans to new continents, partnering and separating, migrating, evolving, composting, sprouting. The art and spirit of universalism continues on her long and fierce and dangerous pilgrimage, surviving her journey through geography, politics, and religions. It's always a good moment to say, brava, universalism, brava. The opposite of this theology of universal salvation is particularism or exclusive salvation, which is, alas, a theology still doctrinally central in the Roman Catholic Church and many denominations of Protestantism. The Catechism of the Catholic Church says that the Catholic teachings, and I quote, affirm the existence of hell and its eternity. The Catechism also says, in hope, the Church prays for all men to be saved. In January 2024, on Italian television, Pope Francis was asked by the interviewer how he imagines hell. As he tiptoed outside the bounds of orthodoxy, Pope Francis gave a short response. What I'm going to say is not a dogma of faith, but my own personal view. I like to think of hell as empty. I hope it is. I like to think of hell as empty. I hope it is. What a wonderful thought, and what a gorgeous hope. Of course, Catholic Church officials were quick to scurry to the microphones to clarify and differentiate the notion of universal salvation as a hope and universal salvation as a doctrine, but Pope Francis could not unsay his personal hope for universal salvation. For a loving God so generous after all this time that hell is empty. Blessedly, our UU faith is not one of doctrine or creed, but rather we make a covenant together, focused on holding values and keeping promises to one another, to ourselves, to each other, to the whole world, and to creation itself. Thoughts about the afterlife may be far from our minds, but most of us, I think it's safe to say, would hope that hell is empty too. At the heart of our second U of universalism is the promise of a love so radical, fierce, and inclusive that it has traveled through hell and high water, pun intended, to reach us and bless us, and to equip us to bear the full catastrophe of our present days. In his book about mindfulness-based stress reduction meditation, John Kabat-Zinn uses the term full catastrophe to describe the whole of human life, its inevitable challenges, struggles, and unpredictabilities. To describe our time, 2025, as a time with challenges, struggles, and unpredictabilities seems almost like a quaint understatement. But full catastrophe works. We will not navigate our full catastrophe days, present and future, without practicing the discipline of a full catastrophe love. This is the radical, fierce, inclusive, full catastrophe love at the center of our faith that has arms big enough to bring everyone and everything into its warm embrace. And this is the radical, fierce, inclusive, full catastrophe love that centers us and gives us strength and courage for the journey. Fully, unconditionally, no questions asked, no hooks, lines, or sinkers. In our reading today, Rainer Maria Rilke, another UU prophet, tells us to listen to this love, to listen for this love in ourselves as our longings. Another metaphor, love as the voice of creation, the love that called us here, and the love that walks quietly and steadily with us, filling us with desires and longings, and then urging us on to the very limits of the full catastrophe of our longings, the beauty of them and the terror of them, all of it. Make no mistake, beloveds, listening to this voice, the voice of creation in our longings, is difficult work, drowned out, as she usually is, by the clang and clatter of our full catastrophe culture and the jarring judgments that talk over every loving thing she tries to whisper to us. Our work is to listen for this love, the voice of creation, and to turn toward her as we turn toward our longings, flaring them up, taking the country called life seriously and never giving up. As Unitarian Universalists, let's practice the discipline of universalism, this full catastrophe love, by first remembering our own belovedness, and then embodying that belovedness in everything we touch, everything we love, and everything we do. Let's imagine ourselves as megaphones for this dim, enduring voice of creation, centering our tradition. At the center of our promise to one another, the voice of unconditional, generous, and life-giving love. Love at the center of our faith, and love centering our faith. Sturdy metaphors indeed, ones we can certainly trust to accompany us through the full catastrophe days ahead. But we can't do this alone. Give me your hand, and I'll give you mine. May it be so. May we make it so. Amen.
That was neat. I don't think we've ever had a singing bowl duet, at least in my time here. We should do that again. Anyway, our next song in our infamous classical love triangle is Von Ewige Liebe by Johannes Brahms. Picking up where we left off with Madame Clara, she went off and married Robert Schumann, despite her father begging, forbidding, and pleading with her not to. And her career as a composer and a classical pianist started to dwindle a bit because she was expected to be a good German housewife in the mid-1800s, much to the chagrin of music scholars and classical music lovers for the next 150 years. Meanwhile, Johannes Brahms, the up-and-coming, somewhat musically conservative upstart, was writing her letters inspired by her playing, by her composition. He was obsessed with her in a way that we rarely see in classical music history. And Von Ewige Liebe, despite having absolutely no academic credentials for me to back this up with, nothing will convince me otherwise. This song is 100% a imaginary conversation that Brahms would have loved to have had with Clara, in spite of the fact that she was married to, Bobby. So, Von Ewige Liebe is full of rich love metaphors. There's a translation in the chat and in the order of service, and it follows the structure of Schubert's second setting of Zuleika, because, everybody knows that one. And other than that, I think, as Hyungju reminded me this morning, we've done this one at Arlington before, although I've never done it as a tenor, so excuse the new gratuitous, if a bit self-indulgent high notes. Enjoy.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Hyunju. You know, we're going to have to sing nothing but folk songs and hymns out of the Teal hymnal for about the next, until 2035 by my calculation. I love it. Mark David steps away, and this is what we get. And I'm reminded of a certain member of our worship committee known for his sartorial flair. He's back there. Don't everyone look at him all at once. Said, it's kind of reminiscent of our summer services where the inmates are running the asylum. But my God, that's splendid. Arlington Street is an entirely self-sustaining community, and it's up to us. Thank you for your commitment to our staff, to our building, and to our beloved spiritual community. Each Sunday, we share our collection plate with a partner in our mission of love, service, justice, and peace. With 21 chapters nationwide and over 940 nonprofit partners, Gay for Good energizes and mobilizes the LGBTQ+ community to volunteer alongside the greater community through social, welfare, and environmental service projects. Their mission is to promote goodwill and understanding through collaborative volunteerism. The Boston chapter is the most active in the country, and Arlington Street proudly hosts their annual Valentine's Day card-making project, where volunteers handcraft cards for elders in Boston and surrounding communities. Learn more at gayforgood.org. I was mulling over the lyrics to the late Beatles song, The End, which include, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. And I sat with that for a while, and after a while, the words of Jerry Stiller's character on Seinfeld, George Costanza, speaking about the airing of grievances at Festivus started to creep into my mind. I've got a lot of problems with this, and now you're going to hear about them. One, I don't believe love operates on such a strict quid pro quo transactional basis. Also, even if that was true, shouldn't the wording be more along the lines of the love you give and the love you receive rather than take and make? Then again, Paul McCartney is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the last time I checked, I'm not. So maybe there's something to that. My view of love is a more generous one, along the lines of the American songwriter and Unitarian Universalist Malvina Reynolds and her song Magic Penny. Love is something if you give it away, you wind up having more. May we all have the grace to realize the truth in these words. About 6 weeks ago, the German writer and journalist Christian Narthler posted a short poem of sorts on Substack titled Love and the End of Everything, about the loss of his partner Ava. In his poem, he described something she said a year prior, then recalled swimming with her at the seashore, and writes, and I loved her more intensely than usual because I remembered that all this will end. And then he concludes his poem with the deepest expression of romantic love that I've ever encountered. About a year ago, we were in bed together, and what she said was, if something happens to me, I want you to know that life with you was beautiful. Imagine what the world would look like if we all lived so that we could say to people, not just romantically, or perhaps better, have someone say to you, I want you to know that life with you was beautiful. I'm at least going to try. Living life in a more intentionally generous manner and being able to say to others, or hopefully hear those words, life with you was beautiful. And in the end, the love you give. Please take a moment now to join me in giving to sustain our beloved Arlington Street. You can give online at ascboston.org or find instructions in the order of service for giving via QR code, Venmo, or text message. You can also mail a check to the church or use the envelopes in the pews, which can be given to the ushers as they come through momentarily with the collection plates. Thank you for your generosity. Until we see you again. Our final hymn today is hymn 1014, Answering the Call of Love. We'll be led by Andrew Stack, and the words to sing along can be found in the order of service, in the chat, and in the teal hymnal. Let's rise now in body, rise in spirit, and sing together hymn 1014, Answering the Call of Love.
Of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Thank you. As we begin our benediction, I invite those of you in the Zoom room to please reach out your hands and touch the sides of your square, and those in the sanctuary to please raise your hands, palms out. Let's send loving kindness to the people on your left and to your right. Send loving kindness to the person on either side of you and to the people on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community and feel it coming back to you. Oh, sorry. There it is. As you feel it coming back, bring your hands back to your heart center and carry that love that is the spirit of this congregation wherever you go. Beloved spiritual companions, as we prepare to return to the clang and clatter of our culture, beyond the safety of the circle that is this Arlington Street community, may we take with us some provisions for the full catastrophe road ahead. Let's take with us the reliability of metaphor, well used to add stability and delight to our language, for inspiration and good habits. Let's take with us a steady love for ourselves. Every last lonely part even the hurt, the dented, the broken, and the unfinished bits, so that we will be steady at the center of our lives. Let's take with us a fierce and foolish love for the other, expanding the circle to love the friends and enemies we know and the strangers we do not yet know. Let us take with us a curious, reverent, wonder-filled love for creation herself, mysterious, magnificent Mother Nature, and the clouds and the cosmos that surround us. May we leave here infused with this irreverently reverent love. From the heart of our tradition, the love that radiates out from the self to the other to creation itself. This is the radically inclusive love of our brave, enduring, evolving, resilient tradition. A love so big and so generous that it can handle the full catastrophe of our broken, beautiful, hurting, heartwarming world. Love is the spirit of this congregation. May love hold us all until we meet again. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. I love you. Amen.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine.
Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.